Order here, we are going to call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. It's time we get a roll call.
Counselor Funderburk.
Here.
Counselor Duffloff.
Here.
Counselor Katie McMillan.
Here.
Counselor Smith.
Here.
Counselor Dennis McMillan.
Here.
Counselor McLean.
Here.
Mayor Sype.
This time we rise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. At this time, is there any questions on the agenda as it currently stands? With no questions, we're looking for a motion.
I move that we accept the agenda.
Thank you. We need a second motion, please.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you for your second. Get a roll call.
Counselor Funderburk.
Aye.
Counselor Duffloff.
Aye.
Counselor Katie McMillan.
Aye.
Counselor Smith.
Aye.
Counselor Dennis McMillan.
Aye.
Counselor McLean.
Aye.
Maybe moving on now to 5.1 general announcements.
All right, thank you. All right, I probably should have added it as a item, talk about Marina Fire, but if it's all right, we'll cover some information on that here. So Chief Baker is here with us tonight. We had, obviously, I think everybody knows we had a fire down at the Marina, so we wanted to give you kind of an update on that. I was gonna actually hand it over to Chief, and then we'll sort of what do you call that? Rally it back and forth a little bit. So microphone's there. Yeah, make sure the toggle is on. We should be good to go.
Good evening, everyone. Yesterday was quite the event here in Umatilla. And good way to break in a chief by having a Marina fire. Because Chris Grant, the previous chief, had a Marina fire. This one was much larger than his. So at 6:27 in the morning yesterday, we got a report of a single boat on fire at the Marina. The initial report was that we had a person in the water as well. Immediately before we even had units there, we started asking for additional resources. One of them specifically was Boardman Fire and Rescue with their boat. Now, the reason for that, because we do have our own boat, is I always like to duplicate our resources. So if we have catastrophic failure with our boat, we have one en route or already at sea. As soon as I got at scene, I got there about 30 seconds after my first in engine. We found that it wasn't one boat, it was 3 boats, and 2 of which had already drifted away from the Marina. Thankfully, the winds were in our favor. We had a southwest wind, and it was very light wind, and it pushed it against the peninsula or the water,
The
jetty, and instead of into the other dock, which could have been pretty catastrophic. But now we have the challenge of, we have one fire with a lot of exposures that's on the B dock, because we had all those boats that were still moored up. And then we have 2 separate fires out on the water. We stretched a large attack line. Normally, when we go to a structure fire or any sort of a fire, we stretch what's called an 1 3/4 inch attack line. Because we had big fire, we knew that we had the metal roof and we had fiberglass and fuels and things like that. The BTUs with a fire like that are extreme. So in order to overcome that, we deployed a larger line, which is a 2.5 inch line. With that, and some of the challenges that we faced was our lines are 200 feet long that are pre-connected to the engine. We got almost there. Thankfully, my guys reacted quickly. We extended it further and we got some good knockdown of that fire. Meanwhile, our boat arrived. We put it in the water, started on boat number 2. We had damage to approximately 5 different boats on dock B. And as we started extinguishing the boats that were out in the Marina, in the waters, as soon as they were extinguished, they sank. And that's typical. I had prior experience in the Coast Guard, so the Coast Guard thing started kicking in, and we started making mandatory notifications to federal, which is EPA, Coast Guard, state, which is the Office of State Fire Marshal's Watch Center, DEQ for both Oregon and Washington, and some of the other local agencies as well. Public Works was absolutely amazing. They arrived at scene while we were still combating the fire. And Leon and his team deployed booms out in the water to contain the fuel spill. So anytime you have a vessel that sinks, you have pressure, just like when you go to dive down, you have pressure, and that pressure pushes all the liquids up. So we had all sorts of different fuels. So diesel and gasoline primarily, and then of course we had oils and other contaminants from the actual fire. So that was containing it into the marina. At that time, we shut down all access to anyone onto Dock B because we had some safety concerns. And then we also shut down the power as well because the fumes were just overcoming everyone that was kind of working in that area. The police department was there in full force. I think even off-duty personnel showed up. We had great cooperation from the sheriff's office. I mean, you name it, Oregon State Police was there. It was just a great cooperative effort to mitigate this issue. As we all know, we're still mitigating issues. So last night at about 5 o'clock, the contractor showed up to start the cleanup and assessment process. They put out their boom, which is a much more expensive boom to contain everything. It's much more effective. And we started that process early this morning. We all met out there, and it was pretty amazing how much fuel and oil surfaced during just the evening. Quite the mess. Today they started doing assessments. They started containing it more. They identified where the sunken boats were, and they're starting to come up with a plan on how to bring them up to the surface for us to continue our fire investigation. Because of the magnitude of this fire, we all know that that is Army Corps of Engineers land that's leased by the city, makes things even more complicating. And then we have multiple boat owners that have lost or have damaged boats. I chose to have Oregon State Fire Marshal come in and assist with the investigation. Today I met with him at the police department where we were able to review some video footage. I was absolutely amazed at the fire growth with this. We're talking minutes and seconds from just a little glow that you see to extreme fire growth and explosion. We are very lucky that nobody was injured or killed with this incident. The coming days, what it looks like is tomorrow they're going to continue their cleanup effort. Before they can put any divers in the water to right these boats, the contaminants have to be gone. So it could take 1 or 2 days to clean up the contaminants before they can bring those up and for us to finish our investigation on the boats. We kind of have a point of origin, but in order to confirm our point of origin, we must boats. We have evidence there that's going to be very hard to obtain because of the amount of water and fire damage to these vessels. Typically, my experience in something like this, it's very rare to have an undetermined cause, but we may have that with this. We're hoping that we are able to determine some sort of cause. We have all sorts of hypotheses that I can't share at this point because then people would think that's factual. But fact is we do know point of origin. We just have to confirm and then we have to determine the cause. Is there any questions for me as far as the response and what is currently happening? Mr. Socko.
Yeah, thanks, Chief. Just a little bit more on our end. I had a couple of different questions come our way. One, how come we didn't activate our public alert system or something like that? So one of the things, just to be clear, even though this is on the marina, very visual, kind of big, it's kind of no different than if a fire happened up on Truman or something in South Hill, where the residents that are immediately impacted and are in immediate danger were notified and impacted. We did the same thing with the moorage holders here. So we have our list of moorage holders with quite literally within minutes. We had contacted both the boat owners, the boats were on fire, both the rest of the moorage holders that had boats on B dock, and then throughout the marina, we went through and contacted each of them. one by one. We didn't necessarily get a hold of everybody immediately, but we did get a hold of them. In fact, the primary vessel where this started, he doesn't live here, lives in Minnesota. And he was on an airplane and at the marina by like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So, so they got their information and they were here, pretty quickly with that. As Chief mentioned, Public Works was there. They also, in addition to setting up booms, we coordinated with the police department. We did set up perimeter. The other things with that, we have over 2,200 subscribers to our alert system, and Chief can attest to this a little bit too. We talked about it earlier today as well as yesterday. But if we send that alert out, the last thing we want is 2,200 people thinking, I want to go check that out. And so kind of coming over and seeing what it was all about. And so in this case, we felt it was best to let the first responders do their job, do their work, notify those that were immediately impacted, make sure people were safe, set up our safe perimeter, and then send information out to the community as it became available.
Yeah, my only opinion would be is if you do send something out like that, if it said avoid this area. That would be my only thing is when you're in the middle of doing something like that, I've been involved and you start getting looky-loos and it's just makes it more difficult and it's unsafe. And then, we don't want that. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, there was enough Facebook coverage and everything else. And then I wanted to tell you personally, I really appreciate the video that you did to summarize everything and let everybody know. You know, we're definitely going to leave some bounds of what we used to be with as far as communication. I thought it was fantastic. You guys did a great job. Thank you.
Well, the majority, I mean, Chief did a great job of being exceptionally proactive and getting information out. Obviously, they had lead of this incident. We're in this case, we're the leaseholder and landowner, but they're the incident responder. And so we coordinated, we followed their lead, and we've talked about as more information becomes available, we'll be doing a joint press release either tomorrow or later this week as that information is available and it's appropriate to do that. But at the very least, we were all talking, and as Chief Baker mentioned, is the interagency response was quite overwhelming in a very good way, and really appreciate the work of Umatilla Rural Fire and taking the lead in the rest of our brother and sister agencies nearby. So just really appreciate that work.
You wouldn't mind, I'd like to add one thing. Everything aligned right. The winds were very minimal. We pushed it in the right direction, pushed it away from the dock, so we had less fire spread. But also 6:30 in the morning for our crews, which is 2 career staff. Thankfully, we had B shift that was coming on, and B shift, one of their guys lives in Sandy, Oregon, so he showed up the night before. So we had him at the station, so he was able to grab our boat. And then another one of my guys who lives in Cascade Locks was in Oregon when the dispatch happened, so he was able to grab a tender. And then we had one of our volunteers, which we haven't had a volunteer program for almost a year, and this is why we need a volunteer program. He came from Oregon, he grabbed an engine, and we were able to provide support to UCFD1, who was fighting the fire on the jetty, and provide extra water to them. So in all, Umatilla Rural had 2 engines, a water tender, a boat, and a chief officer, and with only 2 on per day. So that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
The response time with UCFD1 and just everyone was just amazing. The PD has been great. Public Works, my hat's off to them. It was a great, almost a picture perfect scene as far as the cooperation is concerned.
That one, practice, chief.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
So just one last thing on that. So Chief mentioned this briefly in his report. So the next coming days, the area is restricted. At the moment, the gate we're keeping closed, and moorage holders, if they want to get into, look at and inspect their boats, they can do so, but only as under chaperone or need to be with authorized city staff in there. BDOC is not really available, which is where most people are trying to get in. And so those that we're letting in, they're coming in, we're having to take a look from the shore. Temperatures are getting below freezing right now, which has got a lot of people nervous, so that the water itself could freeze. Or if they didn't winterize their boats because they've kept heaters and stuff on there because they're plugged in, they don't have that. And so at the moment, there's still too much, as Chief mentioned, there's too many contaminants. There is still diesel and gasoline and other flammable contaminants on the surface of that water. If we turn on that electricity and we have one spark the wrong way, we have another major big problem. So that power is just staying off and we are limiting access to the area.
My fault, I failed to inform the city manager. After talking to Tidewaters today, they have determined that most of the substance is oil or diesel and the flammable point is much lower. After some long discussions with him and also an electrician, we determined that as long as we isolate the affected areas, which was the areas that burned, that power is restored now.
Great.
So I really wanted to get that restored because we have a lot of money in boats down there and it's getting colder and colder. And those folks are pretty nervous about their boats. So power is restored. They do know that. And I failed to mention that to you, sir.
That's good. We were just up there 1 o'clock, so we're 5 hours from now update. So you're getting information in live time. Welcome to the party. So there you go. I don't have any other announcements.
Well, I just want to once again say thank you again for Total Fire, their phenomenal work, and thanks to city staff for all their continued efforts on this. And I hope that can resolve this fast and figure out the cause and fix this and move this in a positive direction moving forward. Moving on now to 5.2 December paid invoices. Any questions on that from staff? Anything to add? No, anything from council? Any questions?
No.
Okay. Moving on now to the public comment. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. There is none. All right, moving on now to the consent agenda. Any questions on the consent agenda, item 7.1?
Nope.
No, looking for motion, I'll keep passing consent agenda.
I move that we pass the consent agenda.
Hey, you give me a second, motion, please.
I'll second that.
You can roll call.
Counselor Funderburk,
Aye.
Counselor Duffloff,
Aye.
Counselor Katie McMillan,
Aye.
Counselor Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Dennis McMillan,
Aye.
Counselor McLean.
Aye.
And moving on now, you guys have that vote. Moving on now to 9.1, a resolution number 252026. Any questions on that from council, staff, everything?
No, this is a project that we've talked about several times now, the pre-procurement, we actually saw, I think at your last council meeting, we are just requesting through DEQ that we move a portion of our construction funding into the design phase loan so that we can do that early procurement, but the overall project cost does not change. It actually worked out to our benefit, they're offering 50% principal forgiveness at a very low interest rate.
Okay, looking for motion. No further questions?
Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion to approve resolution number 25-2026.
Thank you, that motion. We have a second motion, please.
I'll second it.
Motion been first and seconded, looking for roll.
Counselor Funderburk,
Aye.
Counselor Duffloff,
Aye.
Counselor Katie McMillan,
Aye.
Counselor Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Dennis McMillan,
Aye.
Counselor McLean.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Moving on now, motion carries to, moving on now to 9.2, resolution number 262026.
Thank you. So I'll give time for Scott, Public Works Director, and then we also have Daryl Moore from JEB with us as well. In 2021, we did a full comprehensive revision to our public works standards and specifications, which is why you now have this is why your packet is 300 pages, because there's 200+ pages of that in here. That document is on our website. It's lived and breathed on that website since that time. And in there, you've delegated authority to the Public Works Director or the city manager to be able to make revisions in consultation with our engineer of record throughout that time, and to bring you back those revisions by resolution in years that end in 5 and 0. So we are 3 weeks late on getting that to you. Apologize for being slightly tardy on that. The summary of each of those are in your agenda bill cover sheet, and any additional questions or improvements or specificity, I'll let Scott kind of talk about those a little bit more, or we can let Daryl talk about that some more as well. Scott, you got anything for us?
Not a lot to,
No, there you go.
how about now? There, because I'm so quiet. Yeah, nothing in real particular there. I mean, there was a long list of things as we go through things and new things become available that make life easier for public works, or we find it is troublesome in our repairs out in the world with all the new houses that are going in and roads that are going in. We typically, will keep a list of those and then, pass it along to JEB. And then JEB will update those and on a yearly basis. And then, there's also things that come up where contractors find maybe a shortcut to do something that we don't like, but it's not specified in our standards, and it's hard to hold somebody accountable if it's not in writing black and white. Most contractors are real good about it. Other ones are not so much. So we have to create the rules in order to make sure that, things get installed the way, is best bang for our buck, most efficient, and, will last the longest, really. So that's really what we do. And then, Daryl and his staff do a great job at JEB keeping a list of those things and looking to see what else is out there in the surrounding area. We don't want to be anti-construction at all or contractors, so we try to, all the people within the area try to really mimic what each other does, so there's no big surprises for contractors. They can order large quantities of those items for all their homes throughout all the developments within the area. So that's really all I got. Daryl, if you have anything you'd like to add, or if you want to go through the list, I'm assuming you don't want us to go through the list. I will if you want.
No, I'm good, no.
But, so anyway, that's where we're at, and, just want you to know, that's what we do to make sure that, we're spending the city's money. And that we're asking developers to put in the right thing so that, we don't have a lot of maintenance and operational costs in the future, so. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free, and Daryl, if you got anything you want to add, have at it.
Nope, I think you did pretty good, but yeah, if there's any specific questions, just let me know.
Pretty good.
I thought you did great.
Scott? So I read the summary and, admittedly, I just skimmed the majority of the document. Are there any parts in that you would specifically say that we should go back and actually take a look at? Any great big changes in anything? No, Councilman, I am disappointed that you just breezed over it. But that's not like you normally. Because I work better than I do, so, yeah, so, I know it's been a busy time, so, no, we've got, nothing that was particularly, troublesome, just, some different kinds of, ways to, I'll give you just a quick, for instance, we have setters that the contractors are supposed to use to set the meter, so that the inlet and the outlet are level for the water meters that go in. Then our guys come in, and when we give them their, certificate of occupancy, then we go ahead and put the meters in, hook them up, and get water flowing to the house so the plumbers can check all their stuff and do what they need to do, and then everybody will get water. And some contractors will piece that together rather than buy the setter for an extra $100 that already presets it and make sure that it's all done. And so then they use parts and pieces to do that, and they're not. And then we end up making the contractor come back, dig it all back up and get them leveled back out. Well, as you know, you can't do anything for $100. So if you call those guys, now they're mad, and they feel like we're holding them accountable to something that shouldn't be there. And, in fact, we've been asking everybody to use setters, and most have, but some still like to try to do a little bit, more inexpensive, and the less money they make on them, the harder it is to develop. So I totally get it, but we just want to make sure that we have those kind of parameters in place so that the people down the road don't have to deal with it like we're dealing with a lot of the things that are popping up from building in the 70s and 80s and 90s right now. Thank you.
Any further questions from council?
I was gonna say, I'll highlight one other too, Scott. The other big one that I thought was good in here for us was the pressure reducing valves that we added into these specifications. If they're adding in a new main line, we didn't have that in our specifications before, and we spent a lot of money over the last couple of years putting in these PRVs. And then just to turn around to have a lot of residents say, I don't have the pressure that I'm used to having. The problem was they had pressure at like 85 PSI, which is like the state maximum allowance in those pipes, when the best practice standard says they should be somewhere between like 30 and 35. And so, yeah, when you drop from 80 to 30, It feels like you have no pressure all of a sudden when you used to have just a ton of it. And so that type of stress on our main line can cause, over time, can cause unnecessary stress and deteriorate the infrastructure more quickly. So this allows us to put that into those new mains as they come through and allows us to adjust that as is rather than go and disrupt it later on.
Is that why some folks on South Hill were complaining about pressure? Was you guys doing work to actually shut down some of the lines or?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened about a year and a half ago,
Well,
especially
yeah, I was affected by that.
Yeah.
But recently, my wife showed me a thing on Facebook where somebody
This
said they
morning.
didn't have what, yeah, did you see that? And is that?
Yeah, we saw this morning. No, unrelated to anything like this. That was actually just on their own residence there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, but it's, no.
on Madison Street. Yep, we got it taken care of.
Okay, right on.
Any further questions from council? Okay, no further questions or promotion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion, we approve new business item, resolution number 2026, excuse me.
Thank you for that motion. Get
Second.
Motion from person second, looking for a roll call this time.
Counselor Funderburk,
Aye.
Counselor Dufflock,
Aye.
Counselor Katie McMillan,
Aye.
Counselor Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Dennis McMillan,
Aye.
Counselor McLean.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on now to our second public comment period. Nothing. Moving on now to the mayor's message. I just want to say thank you again to the chief here for being here this evening and giving us a briefing on that. I know I had a couple of phone calls about it and I called Dave about it and we're just making sure we're all on the same page. I really appreciate you kind of making a presentation and keeping us informed. And I'm glad that no loss of life or for making sure that we're all on the same page and everyone's staying safe. And thank you again. And then thank you again to Scott and Mr. Moore for joining us this evening to give us a quick debrief on that. And can't say enough. And other than that, that's all I have for everybody. And moving on down, we'll start with Ms. Funderburk.
We don't have much. No, just thank you for, again, our department, police department, everybody worked together so well for the fire. It was bringing, flashbacks of everyone, so this is, yeah. Hopefully this is not as, doesn't take so long to, it doesn't take as long as the other one did to get everything back. And everybody happy. No, thank you for, yeah, all the great work that you guys are doing. The ice skating rink looks great. Everything just, the whole city looks really great for Christmas and, yeah, just thank you for all you guys do. Thank you. Darren?
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, yeah, you're good. I echo that too. Great job. Thank you for, and again, thank you for doing the personal message because it doesn't, we don't always get that. And so doing that, it really makes a big difference. I appreciate that. There's a lot of great things that are happening when it comes to the transparency. I love the fact that we're right on it, getting things out in front of people, even though we may only reach that 2,500 people that we're friends with or whatever they're associated. Those, that old commercial, they tell two people, and before you know it, everybody's got beautiful hair. So, that's the way. Anyways, get ready to get cold, so everybody drive safe. Make sure you run the road, stay warm. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Miller.
Yeah, it's not like a broken record also. Thanks for the transparency. That message was amazing because there's so many people who are asking all kinds of questions. And so when you got that out, that was great. So thank you to your whole crew, the police department, city, everybody who just helped make it go. Thank you, so it's not any better as far as information and everybody. So I appreciate that. Nice to see other faces in the crowd too. We got people out there. So I love seeing everybody found, but it's nice when we have other faces come out here too. The more the merrier. So I like them when you get involved a lot more. So. But other than that, that's about all I have. Stay warm out there.
Very good. Maybe sure to go with Mr. Smith.
I have really nothing more to say. Thank you, Chief, for what your staff did, and really about it. Hopefully, we won't have another one of these next year.
Pretty soon it won't be enough votes, right?
Mr. McMillan, go ahead.
Hey, Chief, I got a question. Did you say something? You guys don't have volunteers or you not enough or what was it you said there? You might.
Okay.
The volunteer program has dwindled away, and this is seen across the nation. Just all adults in households are working. It's not like it was in the 70s and 80s. The requirements for volunteers are the same as a career firefighter. And when I became the chief, we had no volunteers. So what we have done is we've done some recruiting. We have 5 volunteers right now that are going through the training. We have only one of them that's certified that can actually respond to incidents. It's kind of trying to bolster those numbers. It's just
Is that kind of an Oregon State thing? What is that?
nationwide.
Is it nationwide, huh? It's kind of too bad where guys could just give the community a helping hand when needed, you know?
Yep.
All right, I was just curious when you said that, like, it didn't make sense to me, but
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
that is unfortunate.
We'll build it up.
We'll build it up.
All together.
Yeah. All right, that's all I got.
Thank you. Mr. McLean.
Yeah, I'm broken record, but I'm the last. Thank you, thank you, emergency services for the response. Thank you, I mean, the city as a whole. Unfortunately, it takes things like this for us to learn and see how we react and how we communicate with the community. And, I think from listening, it sounds like we've done an unbelievably good job, but there are always lessons to learn. Beyond that, I was just gonna make a comment that, thank you for staff and consultants. We've, done a wonderful job on putting together urban renewal information, lots and lots of stuff to get through, but thank you very much for this specific body of work. Looking forward to the next steps. Thank you.
Okay, and with the conclusion of that, we're looking for motion to adjourn this meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Thank you for your motion. Give a second motion, please.
I'll second that.
Thank you for your second. We're gonna roll call.
Counselor Funderburk,
Aye.
Counselor Duffloff,
Aye.
Counselor Katie McMillan,
Aye.
Counselor Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Dennis McMillan,
Aye.
Counselor McLean.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you for attending.
We'll do.
Thanks, Lauren.
Yeah.